guys listened yesterday. I love it. Okay, so the introduction, called the ID. The most important thing with your introduction is building Me Too's. So now listen to me carefully. Presentations can be up to 5 minutes, up to an hour, up to hours and hours and hours and hours. Okay? All right, so introduction is to build Me Too's. It's to create everybody on the same side. All right? Now, if you're going into an interviewing type situation where you're interviewing a company that you want to distribute what it is that you market, you're interviewing a producer that you want to produce a product, an idea, a service that you have, you're trying to get your foot in the door somewhere, important that your introduction builds Me Too's. Something else, if there's really a big break that you're after, you want to try to find out as much information as you possibly can about the person you're meeting with. Yeah. You want to find out as much information about the person you're meeting with. You want to find out as much as you possibly can. This hotel did a great job of that, to be honest with you. They did a phenomenal job of that. They went and checked out our website. So that when we walked in, they had plenty of information on us and how to be able to talk to us, how to compliment and encourage us. And they started it with that. Okay, the management staff also found out that Danny likes organic Cheetos, white cheddar Cheetos. And guess what was in my room last night when we got done? White organic Cheetos. Okay, they also found out that I soak in Epsom salt baths after I'm done speaking. Okay, so guess what was delivered at my room at noon yesterday? Epsom salt baths. Do you understand? So they found out information about us before we walked on this property. Why? They're trying to build a bridge with us so that we come back. Why? Because we helped them sell out this hotel. Do you understand? People with a poverty, amateur, salesmanship, attitude, and process see somebody as a one-shot deal. Well, guess what? If you see us as a one-shot deal, then you won't have us back in the future. Can you see the difference between the two mentalities? Okay? One is cultivating. They're cultivating. They invested money to send one of their employees out to the grocery store to find organic Cheetos for me. Why? It was worth it. Why? Because, hello, that was smart. When I walked in and they were all delivering them at the same time, the management staff and the security guys were there with it. I'm like, oh, Cheetos! Cheetos! Do you understand? Okay, so that's my point, is that if you are doing something like this hotel, that they're wanting to have continued business with somebody, you want to, and again, for your manager, find out as much as you can about your manager. Find out as much information as you can about the person that you're going to be meeting with or that you're going to be presenting to. Do you hear me? As much information as you can. Everything in the core rapport methodology helps you find out as much as you can, even in a short period of time, what is important to them, what matters to them, and what makes them tick. So when you bring those things up to them, makes them feel special, builds a level of trust, it honors them, therefore you have all of who? Heaven doing what? Behind you saying what? Go, and doing what? Opening doors that no man can shut. I don't care, listen to me. If you use the principle, even if you don't follow God, this is how Bill Gates is a billionaire. Have you ever noticed that someone's religion doesn't matter that determines whether or not they make money and are successful? Have you ever noticed this? Yes, do you know why? The principles are universal. Regardless if you believe in that Bible or not, I promise you, I have found out of all the successful people I've been interviewing for the last 20 years, use those principles. And I found those principles, guess where? In the Bible. Including what I taught you last night. Do you hear me? It's going to work regardless if you believe that it's God or not. It is the key that opens up the heavens for your favor and for grace. Why? Because the principles work regardless of what you do with them. That's how come other people are successful that don't carry the same faith. But guess what? Everything they do on this earth don't count for squat. Did you hear me? You use these principles and you serve him. It don't only count for here, it counts for the hereafter. You understand? Yes. You get it? So the introduction needs to build me too's. It can't be about you, about nothing. It has to be concerning you building a bridge with everybody else. So the more that you know about the person that you're going to be talking to, the better, okay? Because then you can build a bridge between where they're at and where you're at, all right? But there's some bad intros that are done, some really bad intros that are done. And some of those bad intros would be like, well, hi, my name is Danny, and, prior to starting it in business, well, I had my friend, he called me one day, and, I was just driving down the 405 freeway, and it was really, it was a nice day, and everything was really wonderful and everything, but anyway, so he called me, and we had a really cool conversation, and everything was really nice. Have I frustrated anybody yet? These guys have been here before. Anything in your story or in your intro what causes the person listening to say, so what? You need to take it out. It doesn't matter if it's important to you or impressive to you. If it doesn't build a bridge to the audience, it is a so what. Do you understand? It is a so what. So what is the purpose for what it is that you're saying? That's what you have to figure out. There has to be a purpose, and it has to build a bridge. It cannot, now hear me out. All of you do presentations, you don't realize it. All of you do a presentation. Every one of you do. And when you don't know that's what you're doing, you screw it up. Anytime you guys go to present, it is a presentation. You present yourselves in what you do. Do you understand? You got to set it up to where it is following this outline of a presentation. Because here's what happens. You have to bring the psychological process of the hearer of the presentation, the prospect, through a process of who are you? Why do I want to listen to you? That's what the intro's for. The intro is designed to answer the questions of who are you and why do I want to listen to you? Okay? So if you take that intro and you're making sure you know some information about the person beforehand, you can tie a bridge right there. Now they think, oh, they're like me, or I like this guy. Perfect. Now you have a couple more seconds to grab their attention. All right? Okay, next, number 2 is your company info, if that applies. Okay? Your company info. That would be, if you're interviewing and you are running a bank, you're going to talk about what your bank is, what the track record of the bank is, how long they've been in business. Do you understand? What they have done, what they've done in the community, what they've done with their employees, selling the benefits of what that is. Okay? I'm sorry, I switched one. Number 2 is the industry in which you represent. Okay? And the industry always presents a problem. That's actually number 2. This is switched around. So you want to present a problem. So the industry, you would present in your presentation what your industry is. And typically when you're presenting the industry, you always want to present the problem. Okay? There's a problem, and then you're going to present that your company has the solution. Okay? So the problem may be, for those of you that are in the nutrition industry, that the top 3 causes of death are stroke, heart disease, and cancer. And all of them have been medically proved and documented to be a nutritional deficiency. Okay? So we are strategically placed in a $60 billion industry that is growing and growing fast. And this is what you do in a live presentation. How many of you know people that their bodies are deteriorating daily? How many of you know people with health problems? Okay, so now there's a bridge. Okay, by the way, if you're in a group setting, you raise your hand. That provokes them to raise their hand. You nod your head and smile. Always in a presentation, you must smile. All of your teeth, even if they're green. Okay? You need to smile when you're speaking because you're more attractive. Even if you don't think you are, you're more attractive to the person when you're smiling, especially one-on-one. So important because it changes your body language. When you're not smiling when you're talking, it completely says, I'm scared, I'm terrified, I don't know what my next step is, and oh man, can this be over now? Do you understand? So you need to smile when it is that you are talking to people. All right? Income doing a very responsible job of commercial diving at 16 years old because of smiling. And he had messed up teeth. He did. Okay, next. So present your industry. And again, what you're looking for is the problem. Okay, why the industry exists. What's the problem with the environment if you're marketing environmental stuff? Okay, you know, and some of you, you're going to have to expand your mind and think, okay, what problem does my product or service solve? Write this down. This is so big. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the paycheck. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the paycheck. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, gosh, you know, I do a service that doesn't really solve that much of a problem. I want you to look at what it really does solve. In fact, do this. Interview your current clients as to why they like doing it, why they like having it. Why do they like partaking with what you have? What problem does it solve? Let's look at this. Even something as elementary as fingernails. What problem does that solve? See, some of you, confidence for some women, right? Can't do it yourself, less stress. Do you hear what I'm saying? Even something as elementary. Some of you could be thinking, no, there's no way a manicure solves the problem. Yes, she does. The industry's huge. The industry's huge. You just have to get your mind wrapped around what problem do I solve? Okay? My girlfriend, Michelle, who moved to a new area, helping her build her clientele. And this is what I said. Listen, I said, there's a lot of flaky hairstylists. So your advertising needs to target that. And you need to have testimonies in your advertising that says, Michelle is consistent, she's professional, no gossip, she's creative, she'll do what you want. If you want to do something creative or you want to stay the same, she'll work for you. Right there. You look at what problems they have with other people, and here's how you can solve it. Does that make sense? So don't get your mind all second. No, I don't think my industry solves a problem. Yes, it does. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. Do you hear me? It solves a problem. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. Okay. All right. So the answer to the problem, you need the answer to the problem. The answer is your company. Your company info, real short, just the track record. The track record of how long have they been in business, what have they done, who have they helped, who's their market, what's their bottom line track record. If they've been in any publications, you want to list that, their success track record. If they've been publicized on television or in magazines or whatever, you want to list what those publications are. You want to also tap in on who the company president is or the CEO or whatever, highlight who that individual, and edify that person. Important to edify the leadership inside of the organization, okay? Whether you like them or not, you need to edify them. Do not assume, hear me loud and clear, do not assume that the prospect knows anything about them. You would be surprised, even if the person is famous, you'd be surprised that a lot of people don't know them. You'd be shocked. Holly, our publicist, asks me all the time, so-and-so called and they really want to have me. I'm like, who's that? I don't know because I don't know that world. I'm not a part of that world. So when she calls about this whole other world and says, oh, I'm so excited because so-and-so is, I'm like, who are they? Never heard of them. And she's like, what? Well, hello, I don't listen to the radio. I don't watch television. My whole life is my God, my family, and my clients. That's my whole life. I don't have anything outside of that life. So I don't know anybody else. So don't ever assume that somebody knows. Even if the name of your company is common and great, don't ever assume. Always, don't look at me, write, edify. Always edify. Number 4, you introduce your product or service or idea. I'm going to tell you that I have a friend of mine that took this information I'm giving you right now, between the core rapport methodology and these core profit skills, and he is in the military. He was a major in the Army. Between those two things, those two modules, he then took it to the Army and taught the generals how to present their ideas to their subordinates in a way where there would be agreement with it instead of an argument with it. It exploded their production. It exploded their results. Took less time. And had everybody moving together in unity towards a common goal versus, okay, I'll obey just because I have to. He taught them how to sell their idea instead of present it. If you just present your idea, it's information. But if you sell your idea, people get excited about it. And so he led them down this presentation process. First, he went in, he found out all that he could know about the person he was presenting to first. He also found out everything he could know about who was going to be in the room. How many of you wrote in a question for the seminar? Do you know why I had you do that? You don't, do you? You don't know why I had you do that. It told me who you were and what you deal with. Do you understand? It tells me who you are so that I can customize what I do for you. Write this down. It's hugely important. Write this down. Never assume you know what the market wants. Never assume. The biggest mistake that people make in walking in pride when they become successful, write this down, it's hugely important. The worst thing about success is a little bit. Because when we have a little bit of success, we think we know it all. We think we got it all together. We think we know our market. Write this down. The market is ever changing. Just like right now, some of you need to change parts of your presentation. There needs to be a little bit of a twist. You need to be sensitive to what is going on in the current events. You always have to be sensitive to what is going on in the current events. You see, even 8 years ago, people were getting rich in the stock market. That is not happening today. 8 years ago it was. And up until just a year and a half ago, up until maybe 3 years ago, people were getting rich in real estate. That is not happening now. It is not happening now. And so, therefore, you have got to be aware of the current events and you speak to those current events in your presentation. Do you hear me? So, for example, in your presentation, you may say, well, we all know what's happening in real estate right now. Therefore, people are looking for other viable ways to be able to make an income. We all know what's happening with the stocks. We all know what's happening with the economy. All the more reason why people are looking for another way to where they're not going to be depending upon a government or depending on an insecure industry to be able to declare their future. How many of you agree with that? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm speaking to what is currently in your mind. You have to flip it because some of your minds could go in the direction of, well, the economy's shot, so therefore my product and service people are not going to want. Get your head out of the ground. That's not true. You have to spin it to where you're write this down, always sell the positive. And you got to sell yourself first on the positive. You got to sell yourself on the positive. How can you make lemons into lemonade? Do you understand? How can you make lemons into lemonade? Write this down. Do you know in a bad economy, do you know what flourishes? Do you know what happens in a bad economy? It's crazy. Record sales in entertainment. Record sales in entertainment. Record sales in drugs and prescription drugs. Which means people are still spending the same money. They're still spending the same money. What are they doing? Escaping. Escaping. They're taking the money that they used to go and do other things with, and they're escaping instead. Escaping with drugs, antidepressants, whatever. Escaping with going to the movies far more than they did when the economy was good. They're still spending money. You have to know that. Don't allow anybody to try to tell you that your business is going to go down because the economy is coming down. It is a lie from the pit of hell. People are still spending money. You have to speak to what's in their mind. You have to spin. You have to spin it on, okay, well, we all know that the economy is bad, which is all the more reason the spin I'm giving you right now works for most of you. All the more reason why people are looking for a more How do you spin that? Is there anybody here in real estate? Okay, so quite a few of you. Okay, so how do you spin it for real estate? It's real simple. You speak to it. You say, now I know you probably have heard that the real estate market is down right now, which also presents another opportunity for those that are in the knowledge and the skill and the understanding of how there's ebbs and flows in real estate. And so I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but many people make millions of dollars in real estate in a down market. That's the spin, and it is the truth.